shape the future of parks and recreation in Carmel. Together, we are creating parks, experiences, and opportunities that will inspire generations to come.
We don't have oceans. We don't
There we go.
Thank you. Mr. Trustee, are you speaking tonight? Okay.
Already spoke to, I need to speak to.
Okay. Just read the thing to move to approve. All right, if everybody is ready, we'll go ahead and start. All right, I'd like to welcome you to today's meeting, Tuesday, June 9th, Carmel Clay Board and Park Recreation. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have your microphone? Sorry, thank you.
Jonathan Blake. Present. Andrew Bradford.
Present.
Jim Garrettson.
Present.
Jen Costunis.
Here.
Kristen. Katie. Not present. Josh. Orhood, gone. Rudy is here.
Present.
And I am present, so Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. If
Madam President, could you be sure that whoever does the minutes shows that Jonathan is remote? That
Oh.
that has to be reflected in the minutes.
Yes, thank you. If we could all, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:05, and if we could stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Curtis, do you have your voice today?
I do have my voice.
Thank you so much. Do we have any public comments or public comment cards this evening?
We do not have any public comment cards this evening, Madam President.
Perfect, thank you. Staff reports. Curtis?
Yes, thank you. Staff reports are included in your packets. Happy to answer any questions that you have. I am glad to have my voice back this month. I think lesson learned. If you're a little under the weather, maybe try or stay home and get some rest and try not to have dialogue or come to a park board meeting and sound ridiculous. So, but I'm back and happy to answer any questions that you've got.
We are glad that you are back and healthy, and we appreciate that. For anyone, questions? Mark?
Curtis, I see in our numbers of employees that we hit 801 this month. I thought that was sort of an awesome thing. I don't think we've ever gone over 800 before.
I don't know for certain. I'd have to go back and look at. It does seem like a milestone. Like we've never quite been over 750. Have we ever gotten to 800 before? That's probably something that we need to look into.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think that we do not have any open positions listed on our website, right?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, I think. I don't know if it was at a park board meeting or not, but from a staffing perspective, we've been in probably the best position that we've been in many years, the last several months. So very happy with where we're at from a staffing perspective.
That's phenomenal. We've struggled for so many years to get to full staffing and
Absolutely.
across the board that when I saw that number, I thought, we must have finally made it. So congratulations,
we're getting
guys.
there.
Great job. Any other comments or questions?
Hey, Curtis, can we take a look at the MCC profit and loss report? Or do you want me to hold that? until
So
we get
you
into
hold that until we get to the
finance?
finance.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Any other questions on staff reports? Okay. Committees, Finance Committee, Mark, please.
We did not meet in the last month. However, we have an upcoming meeting on Tuesday, June 23rd at 6 p.m., as well as a meeting July 21st, which is also a Tuesday at 6 p.m. Both will be held at the administrative offices of the Parks Department.
Perfect, thank you. And Michael, I believe I received, and I'm assuming others, the calendar invite, and then it'll be noticed, correct?
Correct.
It's already been noticed.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you. And then, Mark, thank you very much for that. Moving on, standing in for our secretary, since he's remote, Mark will go ahead with the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of the Park Board meeting on May 12th, 2026.
Thank you. As we do have a member remote, we will have a roll call vote today. Michael?
Reedy. Yes. Mark.
Yes.
Jen.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Madam President, all voted yes, 6-0.
Thank you. So we will move on to the financial reports for the treasurer. Mark?
I move to accept the consolidated financial report for April 2026 and the Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation P&L statements for May 2026.
Thank you, Mark and Reedy. I believe there's some open questions. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Madam President. Curtis, just looking at page 47 of the board report, bottom line, comparing year over year, January through May of 25 and January through May of 26, we're obviously performing better in our net income losses.
Sure.
Right? I know in 25, what I was able to identify was a large capital expenditure inside of there, right? About 1.8 million or so. You didn't incur that this year.
Absolutely.
Great. But then if I retract that capital expenditure of 1.8 million out of the loss of 2.1 million last year would have netted out at a loss of about 290 in terms of net income.
Sure.
This year, we're netting out at a loss of about 442.
Yes.
So are we keeping an eye on that?
Well, if you look at the capital outlay from this year in 2026 and take it off of the net income, we're actually a little bit ahead of where we were last year. So
Operations are performing well.
Usually this time of year, like January through April, we'll lag behind a little bit because the beginning of the year is very front loaded with expenditures like general insurance. We have a capital lease for a guaranteed energy savings agreement that we did a couple of years ago. So a lot of those expenditures hit the year, hit the budget at the very beginning of the year, and then as time kind of progresses, we'll end up in the black.
Great.
So I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at.
Yeah.
The downside to QuickBooks is, and the P&L statement is, it can't delineate between what we're pulling out of cash reserves to use towards capital repairs and replacements or capital development, and so it shows it as capital outlay and attributes it towards a negative net income.
When really the operating budget's doing really well.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So the consolidated financial statement really is it's the official statement, that's pulled from Penimation, and this is more the P&L statement is more of a management tool, just so we have a general idea or a more up to the minute, up to date idea of how we're performing financially.
Good. Yeah, I'll congratulate the team. I mean, you're on the upside for already monthly passes, for daily passes. Things are performing really well.
The water park, I mean, I will throw this out there. The water park, the weather hasn't been great to start the year. It's been a little rainy, a little cooler. But we were able to start the season a little bit earlier this year. We've seen a huge increase in the number of season passes that we've sold compared to last year. But that's great. But our bread and butter are the day passes. We want people to buy those day passes so that we can, and finish the year at a very positive, healthy net income. But we'll see how the year kind of progresses from here on out and see if that number, if people just purchased the passes earlier this year compared to previous years, or so we're kind of keeping an eye on that. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then just for everyone at home, page 47 was referring to the 109, Fund 109, the MCC.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Mark?
Andrew, I just wanted to clarify something that Curtis said. When we first started the Monon Community Center, and specifically the water park the first year, we were 100% reliant on the city and they could not provide us any financial information for at least 2 to 3 months after the fact. And it was somewhat of a disaster because you have a 3-month max, and Michael, I know, smiling because he remembers this. We have a 3-month window to figure out how to change things, but our financial information came after it was over. So we couldn't make adjustments. So we went to QuickBooks with approval of the park board, and I think even city council had to weigh in, and the clerk treasurer and everybody else, because we needed a management tool that could literally tell us where we were at the end of every day, so that we can make adjustments midweek, mid-month, in order to get where we need to go. And that was a very big learning step for the department, and that's historically, I think everybody at the table over there, Eric, Michael, and Curtis, have all lived that to know how we came about by making adjustments. So it's critical, so.
Thanks for that, Mark. I believe we have Mark's motion and Reedy seconding it. Michael, would you mind calling the roll call vote, please?
Happy to do so. Reedy?
Aye or yes?
Mark?
Yes.
Jen?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Jonathan? Yes. Madam President, the question carries unanimously.
Perfect. Thank you for all that. And I believe now we are up to the claims.
I move to approve the claim sheet dated June 2026 and the Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation payroll for May 1st, 2026, May 15th, 2026, and May 29th, 2026.
Second?
Thank you. Excuse me, Mark and Andrew. Are there any questions on the claims or payroll? Okay, Michael?
Reedy? Aye. Mark?
Yes.
Jen?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Jim?
Yes.
Jonathan? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you again. Monetary gifts, grants, partnerships for May. Eric?
Thank you. Pretty simple one this month, just one contribution for a scholar or a sponsorship from Baker Law Office, advertising at our pickleball courts for $1,500.
I will take a motion, please.
Is that for personal injuries?
Which one?
Sign right there.
The monetary gifts, grants, and partnerships.
I move to accept the money's been received.
Thank you, Mark.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Michael.
Sure.
Thank you.
Reedy? Mark?
Yes.
Jen?
Aye.
Jim also was a yes. Andrew?
Aye.
Jonathan? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And then now we'll move on to new business. I believe, I need to check the,
Mr. Baumgartner will be doing that one.
thank you.
Yeah.
Curtis?
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, I'm asking the Park Board to consider Resolution B 2025 or 2026-005, which is authorizing the purchase of replacement equipment. Obviously, the big news this past month was that we experienced a significant loss when we had a fire at our equipment storage facility located right behind our administrative offices. We had a near total loss of a number of large pieces of equipment. The equipment storage facility also housed gas and battery-powered hand tools, signage, replacement playground parts, ladders, you name it, it was in there. A number of the large pieces of machinery that were lost include utility vehicles, tractors, a couple of skid loaders, and other specialized maintenance equipment. I did include an appendix within the resolution so that you could kind of get an idea of what I'm asking the Park Board to approve or give us authorization to go ahead and purchase. without having to come back to the park board. Basically, what this resolution allows us to do is just expedite that process so that I'm not having to come back and ask for approval to replace pieces of equipment that insurance is going to reimburse us for. And we are continuously working with Chubb Insurance, which is our insurance carrier. They're doing some assessments. There is an investigation that's going to happen on June 15th, just so they can determine the cause of the fire. That still hasn't been determined to this point. The resolution also authorizes us to use any procurement process that's permitted under Indiana law. And again, we're just trying to expedite some of those large purchases that exceed Michael or I's purchasing authority of $75,000. You know, we have to, the equipment that we have to replace, we're having to replace like equipment with like equipment. So we can't go out and buy a skid loader that's substantially different than what we had before. But the probability of working with a vendor and exceeding that $75,000 threshold is extremely likely. And we need to get the equipment back as soon as we possibly can for continuity of operations. So that's in essence what the resolution entails. Brian, I don't know if I've missed anything or if I've done a good job explaining it.
You did a great job explaining it. We also gave essentially your administrative staff leadership the special purchase authority that you exercise frequently. If we buy something that you should have to quote, but there's a special purchase provision for it, we use that, and then they're authorized to use that as well. And we'll put together similar resolutions for that purpose that you would adopt, but it would be just from the purchasing agent, the director, and those will be submitted to you all for review. After the fact.
I wanted to note, we do have a full replacement value policy, which in essence means that we've had some adjusters out. They've inventoried our equipment. They're taking a look at our equipment inventory list. They'll match them up, pair them up, make sure that nothing crazy is going on. They will write us a first check for the depreciated value of the equipment, but then after the equipment is purchased, my understanding is that we will receive the difference between what we paid and the depreciation value. So that process should start here pretty soon. We just, that adjuster was out, was it last week? I think last week. So happy to answer any questions that you have. Yes, Mark.
Curtis, I think you said the depreciated value. Doesn't our policy cover replacement value?
Yeah, we have we do have a full replacement value policy. They still come out, the adjuster still comes out and they assign a depreciated value to the equipment. Then they'll cut us a first check. Then after we purchase the equipment, they will end up reimbursing us for the difference between that first check and whatever we ended up paying. And I've asked him that question a couple of different ways, several times, just to make sure I'm understanding.
I know it sort of makes you nervous, doesn't it?
It really does. Honestly, it's a little unnerving.
As far as the fire, I think they have a general location of where it started. Have they been able to identify a piece of equipment that seemed to be more damaged than anything else?
There's a couple of theories. The location of the fire, I think it's pretty much been determined that it was in the southwest corner of the facility. I don't know how much. The two theories that have been floated thus far are that it could be a piece of hand-powered equipment, potentially a lithium-ion battery that was affiliated with that piece of equipment, and or a propane tank that may have been leaky, and if something sparked, it could have ignited the fire. That's what I've heard thus far. Now, again, a lot of theories, and I don't think there's been anything definitive that's been determined to this point.
I think the one definitive thing is that it's clear that it's not arson. It wasn't something that was set.
No, I understand that. In the barn, did we have that connected as part of our overall security system where we would have gotten an alarm, or should we, I guess, in the future, have it as part of our overall security system? Unless you added it, it was never, we never had anything.
No, it wasn't connected to any of the alarm systems. There wasn't a fire detection system in there. I think as we look at a replacement facility, or as we're looking at the big picture for what's appropriate for Parks and Natural Resources team, I do think that anything new should probably incorporate those elements. But as an old barn, this one did
hindsight's
not.
always great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
That's one of the downsides to having a converted homestead is that we didn't have the fire suppression systems and some of those different things that we have in, you know, a Jill Perlman Pavilion or the Modon Community Center. So
Exactly.
I agree with Michael. There'll be something that we definitely want to incorporate into whatever we replace it with.
And my remembrance is we had a lot of things in the attic that belonged to ESE. Did they still keep stuff up there?
I think
or-
predominantly that stuff had been removed because ESE has its own storage space off-site now.
Good.
So I haven't heard that from our team yet. I know there were a ton of signs up there that we use to, you know, when we have detours or different things like that going on. And, you know, a number of pieces of playground equipment, replacement parts, things like
Right.
that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If I could add one thing, and I haven't mentioned this to staff yet. Insurance proceeds are on the list of items that do not require an additional appropriation. So you don't have to go through any appropriation process with city council or anything like that. You can just spend the money that's received and record it as spent.
Yes, Zach Jackson did pass that along to me. I appreciate that, though.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Jonathan? No? Okay, thank you.
I move the adoption of resolution number B-2026-005.
Second.
Thank you, Jim and Andrew. Michael?
Reedy. Mark.
Yes.
Jen.
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
Jim. Jonathan. Yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. And then now we'll move to consideration of resolution G 2026-004. Michael, I believe this is you.
This is me. And this is the one that I have a presentation for. I may have to. So in our last meeting, I presented the schematic design plan that was prepared by Ratio Architects and previously presented to the Mayor's Advisory Commission for Veterans and Military Families. And the idea with that was to give an overview of what has been discussed, the feedback that we had from our steering committee as well as from the veterans, and to give everyone an opportunity to sort of let that sink in a little bit. Tonight, we are requesting the Park Board's formal approval of the schematic design plan. Trying to get this to go. There are no changes from what was previously presented, but one of the things that we have historically done when we get to the conclusion of the design process, we will have the Park Board approve sort of the conceptual plan. And what that does is that becomes the guideline by which we develop the park, typically over phases. So as long as we move forward consistent with that design plan, obviously maybe some tweaks because as we get further along into construction documents, there are existing conditions that sometimes dictate changes. Budget always dictates changes and stuff. But as long as it's consistent with the vision identified, in this case in the schematic design plan, it gives the administrative staff the ability to keep the project moving forward. If there are significant changes, then we always bring them back before we would move forward in the midst of a construction project.
Might have to plug in up there.
Okay.
It was showing up live, but.
Yeah.
not working.
Okay. Well,
Paint us a picture.
the, the illustrations for the park board are actually included in your board packet. Actually, the full schematic design plan is incorporated in there. I had a variety of images that showed the site location, the major components of it, and some illustrations of it. So all of that, again, is very consistent with what, it's actually not consistent, it's exactly the same as what was previously presented to the park board at the last park board meeting. With that, I would recommend adoption unless there's concerns by the park board. And of course, I'm happy to entertain any questions. Mr. Garrettson.
Oh, I have no problem with anything. I just wondered, is there an estimated cost?
So the projected cost for the total construction was around $11-12 million. We do not have $11 to $12 million for this project. So like any particular project that we've done, every park, including Central Park, I fully anticipate it'll be a phased component. And that's what we're looking at with this particular park too. I think the major components of it will all be able to be captured. The Veterans Greenway is its own isolated cost, so that saves some components. And some of the infrastructure that connects the Greenway ultimately to the Esplanade, that connects us to Old Meridian, it's actually part of the transportation network, so we can take that out of the, and not count it against the 6.2 and put it into the Veterans Greenway project. So that allows, we're going to use legal but creative methods to ensure that we can capture as much of the project as possible. I would anticipate some of the elements that are more closely associated or adjacent to the VFW, the sculptural gardens within the Odin Woods, if acceptable to the school board. Those would likely be other phases, and we would look at other funding mechanisms. Andrew, for example, let us know about a potential grant opportunity. So we're going to look at other ways to do as much of the park, but certainly it all won't be constructed at once.
You're going to talk to the school board when?
I talked to the school board tomorrow, and then I will go back in 2 weeks on the 24th for actual adoption of the easement and management agreement.
Do you plan to spend any money on the woods?
At the present time, we would like, I mean, the expenditures on the woods would be associated with the Veterans Greenway that goes through the woods. We also may incorporate some of the soft surface trails, just bringing them up to a little bit nicer standard within the woods, but it would be initially a very light touch to it.
Okay. In one of the things you sent out, you misspelled Marv's last name. It's O-D-U-M, Odum.
With an M? Okay, very good.
Thanks, Mr. Garrettson. Jonathan, I couldn't tell if you had your hand up or not. Did you have any questions for Michael?
No, that was my thumb in front of the camera.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Getting used to all this technology.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion for this resolution.
I move to approve resolution G-2026-004 as presented.
Thank you, Andrew, and then Reedy. Michael, would you be able to do roll call from
I
there?
can do
Thank
it.
you.
Reedy? Aye. Mark?
Yes.
Jen?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Jim?
Present, or yes?
And Jonathan? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And then we'll move on to our final new business topic, which is consideration for approval of acquisition of topsoil. Michael, I believe this is you as well. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I didn't have fancy graphics for this one, so I'll come back to my comfortable chair. For this particular one, this is related to development of Bear Creek Park. In our conversations with our build, operate, transfer team, Thieneman, we identified the potential for a cost savings by transferring some excess dirt that is associated with the project that they're working on with Carmel Utilities at the campus at Main Street and Shelbourne to the Bear Creek site. What we know is we need more dirt for some of the mounding and earthwork that is expected for Bear Creek Park. So we're looking at opportunities to get the most bang for the buck. We are still working with them a little bit to identify the exact dollar amount, but we do know an amount that it will not exceed, which is the $261,000. So what we are requesting for the park board is authorization to accept a proposal from Thieneman and authorize myself to enter an agreement for an amount not to exceed that amount, most likely to be less than that amount, for the acquisition, transportation, and storage of the topsoil for the Bear Creek project. With that, this has also been reviewed by Dave Ford, our owner's representative, who I'm working with closely to come up with what the appropriate dollar amount is for that. But be happy to entertain any particular questions that you have. And it's for 5,000 cubic yards, just to give it a little bit of perspective.
Mark?
Michael, I just had a thought. When we constructed the Perlman building, we had excess dirt that we stored on the property.
That dirt is no more. It's still on the property, but you may recall there used to be some ponds on what we refer to as the Riley property. The ponds are no more. There were some concerns by the neighbors that mounding was creating some challenges, extra water in places that it didn't used to be. Our engineers suggested that was not the case, but working with the city engineers, they determined that it would be best to relocate it. We talked with the city as well as with DNR just to see if it was permissible to be able to infill those. They were not wetlands. There was nothing that precluded us from doing so. So that was the cheapest, most economical way to relocate the dirt, and it also ultimately provided us additional land when we ultimately developed that portion of the park.
So are the mounds still there surrounding the property?
The mounds
or
are those are still there. One of the things, and our vision is that there may be a benefit for keeping them, because in the master plan for West Park, there was a vision for a dog park. That was something that was incorporated into the master plan. And the original master plan had it more on the west side where this mound, more closer to where the mound was as a potential location. We believe if, when the time is right to develop a dog park on the west side, that the more appropriate location actually is on the Riley property, because it's not particularly close to a lot of neighbors, and with the mounding, the neighbors it's closest to, it provides a natural sound buffer. So we think that there's actually maybe an advantage in keeping that as part of a barrier between the dog park. We'd still have to have fencing, but we think it actually provides an advantage for that potential location. So I would kind of advocate for keeping that soil where it is, at least at the present
Oh,
time.
absolutely. I mean, if we potentially use it on our own site
Yeah,
at that park, it'd be much easier to keep it there. So thank you very much.
absolutely.
Any further questions?
Just a comment. These pictures you provided of this Veterans Park are wonderful. I mean, we really ought to put those out, and I think that's going to be magnificent.
It's absolutely going to be a beautiful park, and we will be adding those to the website so that the public can see it. We're also thankful, Current and Carmel, and actually, I think the most recent edition of the Indianapolis Business Journal had an article on Veterans Park, so, yeah. Okay, perfect. It may already be on the website.
Awesome, thanks. So if we have no further questions for the approval for the acquisition of topsoil, I believe I need a motion. Is that correct?
You do.
Okay, fantastic.
So,
I would move that the Park Board accept the proposal from Thieneman Construction, authorize the director to enter into an agreement in the amount not to exceed $261,000 for the acquisition, transportation, and storage of topsoil for the future construction of Bear Creek Park.
Second.
Thank you, Andrew and Mr. Garrettson. Michael?
Absolutely. Reedy? Mark?
Yes.
Jen?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
Jim?
Yes.
Jonathan? Motion carries 6-0. And as a follow-up, I can validate, thanks to Curtis, that the schematic plans for Veterans Park are on our website. So if people go to the Reimagining Park section, they can see all the illustrations.
Fantastic, thank you. Yep.
Well, I've got him. You've got a dedication of an area of the Monon coming up.
If you don't mind, I'll cover that in the director's report.
Okay.
Michael, sorry, back to Mark. He has a question about the dirt.
Yes.
I had more time to think about it. Where exactly on the site are they going to store this dirt?
That is one of the things that we're currently discussing. At one point, we were looking at potentially in part of the meadow close to where it is. The meadow that we have out there has prairie, but it's not the highest quality prairie. So if we have to store it there, it would be brought back to prairie and a healthier prairie. But that is still to be determined.
There is an appendix on that. There's an illustration that shows where their proposed landing site for that dirt is. So that puts it basically as cost-effective as possible to get it as close to where they're going to need it, which is where so that we don't have to move it twice. If we used one of the existing easements to put it in and set it down where the prairie is, like Chris said, we would have to then have the extra cost of then moving that dirt over to where the overlook area is going to be built up around. So that is kind of where they're planning on putting it.
And the overlook is on the west side of the park, correct?
And the overlook is actually more on the east side, sort of the northeast portion.
Oh, the northeast,
Yeah.
Okay. Having been out there numerous times, there are areas that have pretty high-quality prairie.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if this is a decision that the present construction team is making, or if Greg was weighing in on it at all. either.
It's one that we'll be doing in coordination with the design, the current design team. So we do have a sway. They would certainly be deferential to our preferences. So we're happy to.
That's what I was most concerned about,
Yeah.
that he had insight on where this was going to go.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much.
Can I add one thing, just so I don't forget it later? On the northeast portion of the property, there's an easement for
For the water.
wastewater,
Wastewater from what used to be Clay Regional, Tri-Regional.
right, and there's a covenant not to cover
Yeah, no,
that with
we're
anything,
aware of
so
that.
just so they're aware, yeah.
Yeah, it's, as currently proposed, it's not even remotely close to that, so.
All right, thanks, everyone. I see that we have no old business items.
That is correct.
Fantastic. So we'll move to the attorney's report. Mr. Bosma?
Good evening. Good to be with you all again. Beautiful day. Just a few things, high points, what we worked on with your staff here this last month. We worked through these special purchase through Sourcewell of vehicles, which you approved at your last meeting. We finalized and recorded the Connor Prairie easement follow-up. There was a covenant in that easement to file a survey as an amendment to that survey of the actual location of the trail. That was finally taken care of. We've spent a good little bit of time on a matter that you'll hear from perhaps in the director's report on calling the bond, performance bond and maintenance bond for Innovista for the installation of park surfacing that's failed, and I'm sure Mike will go into that. We're still working through the Duke encroachment matters for the corner. We've done our part. Duke has done their part. The developer, because there are 2 or 3 partners involved there, everybody's doing this on getting the documents signed, but we're on that. Hopefully that will be resolved. We worked through with Curtis a couple of MOUs for the kayak and what was the second one? Yes, for bike trail maintenance, and that was at Hazel Dell Park, correct? And those are the and we're working through an easement with Michael for the school corporation for the, Veterans Greenway, yeah. So then general blocking and tackling as requested by staff.
Of course, you've been busy, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Appreciate being part of the team, honestly.
Any questions for Mr. Bosma? No? All right, thank you again. Director's report, I know we received it in our email. I know that Mr. Garrettson has a few questions. Michael?
Yep. So the written report also is, that was emailed is at your stations there. I want to go over a couple highlights and a couple items that were not included in the report. First of all, some of the park closures that we have currently. I'm pleased to report that the White River Greenway North Extension is open for the public to use. With a caveat. While people can use the parking lot, the restroom facility is still under construction. We have been promised that it will be completed by this Friday, the 12th of June. Knock on wood. Hopefully around that time frame. So I would not wager dollars on that, but I do think we are getting close. I was out there today. Plumbing fixtures have been hung, but there's no plumbing to them as of this morning. So hopefully we are close to having that component wrapped up. There's also some masonry work that needs to be completed. The sign base, the monument sign to let people know that it's the trailhead for the White River Greenway. We're waiting for the stone for that, as well as for a seating wall that is across from the trailhead restroom. So but nothing that precludes the public from being able to actually enjoy that. I'm already receiving rave reviews, people enjoying that trail. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I certainly encourage you to do so. We also, as part of our asset management plan and general repairs to our capital assets, we have some repaving work for the Monon Greenway and Hagen Burke on the books. It was actually supposed to have already completed, but due to weather that impacted the original running of the Carmel Marathon, we had to punt, and then it rained when we were going to do it next. So it is now scheduled for some minor repairs that will cause detours in select sections of the Monon. Next Tuesday, June 16th, we will be doing repairs, weather permitting, near the 116th Street Tunnel. So there'll be signage redirecting people around that particular area. It should be approximately one-day closure. The following day, they'll relocate to just north of Main Street by Bubs to do some asphalt repairs there. Again, that'll be a short-term, likely one-day closure. And there's also some repairs along the Hagen Burke Trail. That one, we don't have a specific date yet, but that'll be someday after the 17th. Again, the weather patterns have been a little bit wonky, so hopefully we'll be able to do it next week, but Mother Nature would dictate. We also have some events that are coming up of note. On this Friday, June 12th, we will be doing the sign unveiling for the Susanna H. Dillon Woods at Central Park East at the Francis Brockman Trailhead, or excuse me, Picnic Grove. So invite everyone to come there that's available to help celebrate Sue Dillon and her contributions to the park system. As Mark stated, on June the 23rd, the Park Board Finance Committee will be meeting. The initial discussion for that meeting will be discussion of the proposed Operations and Administration Center, much of it being a tour of the existing facilities. On Friday, July 3rd, sort of going to the the basis of Mr. Garrettson's question. We have a ribbon cutting for the Monon Boulevard Phase 3, which includes the new playground immediately north of City Center Drive along the Monon Greenway. That's at 11:30. And we invite everyone that's available to participate in that. It'll be at that playground. People will be able to sit on the hill that comes down from City Center Drive. Some other projects, as Brian indicated, we have had some issues at Westermeyer Commons Playground in Central Park. You may recall a couple years ago, we actually replaced the top surfacing, the decorative laminate layer of the safety surfacing at the playground, which was at end of life based on the heavy use. We would expect at least 10 years out of it, and it was deteriorating within a year, actually within less than a year. If you go out there today, you'll see areas where the laminate is completely gone, and you can see the black underlayer, which is the more safety focused component of the poured-in-place surfacing, as well as you'll see a lot of loose granules. We've been in discussions with the installer of that since last June. There was some initial warranty work that was completed, some dialogue. They'd go radio silent. We ultimately, in consultation with legal counsel, decided to begin pursuing a claim against the performance bond. Amazing when you start doing that, you sometimes get the attention, and the dialogue has resumed with Softline, which is their doing business name. They have done testing. They have, shock of all shock, determined that there is an adhesion problem that is related to their installation, and they have willingly agreed to a complete replacement of the laminate layer. Their testing did also assess the under section, and the attenuation properties of that have not been compromised. It's just that the top layer is not adhering to that layer, and the granules within the colored layer are just not adhering to each self. So in discussions with them, and given the volume of use that we have in that playground during the summer months, we have elected to have that replacement done once Carmel Clay Schools goes back into session. So on or after August 11th, we'll do that. We made that decision since it does have the appropriate fall levels to cushion against falls, which is the intent of the safety surfacing. It's an aesthetics. It's not the type of situation we would prefer to have, but it is doing its intended thing of helping cushion against falls. We felt it was best to wait until there's a little bit less traffic on it to do the work. Moving on to Founders Park, we have been in oh, yes.
Michael, is it appropriate to ask questions now?
Sure, we can go as I go.
Or should we wait to the end?
If you have questions now, as I'm going through the topics, feel free to do so. It may make more sense.
I have one on this.
Uh-huh.
And it's more of a comment, and I know you guys well enough to know that these discussions have probably happened. But if we go back in history, taking after Sue Dillon, I won't go into the training story, but it's similar. I think it was 2021, we did the first pour-in-place playground. And that was at West Park. And we had problems with it. Then we did one at the water park, Eric, you remember around the pools? We had problems with it. We had problems with Inlow, and you know where I'm going. Every one that we've done, we virtually have had ongoing maintenance issues or problems with an installation. Looking forward to the next playground we do, is there something new, or do we know? I mean, that we have now used a variety of companies, and our overall result has always been the same, failure earlier than we expected.
So what we have, yes, we have definitely taken our experiences into consideration. And we do have a couple of our recent playgrounds where we have not had any issues other than punctures from a tree coming down. River Heritage has been wearing very well. West Park actually has done pretty well as well. So
New West Park.
the new West Park. But we have also experienced some challenges with it, as you've noted. So we actually, working with the City of Carmel and the city engineers, which actually have led the Monon Boulevard Phase 3 project, we were able to switch that safety surfacing. The underlayment is the same, but the top coating is actually going to be turf. What we're finding in discussions with other park systems, and we've had issues with turf in the past too, especially at Enloe. And with everything, to some degree, it's based on the quality of the install crew at the time. And sometimes the same company, one crew is excellent, the other crew is not. But what we've been finding and our discussions with our colleagues is that the turf, especially if it's a relatively flat surface, has been wearing much better than the poured in place. So we did a change order, and it's going to have the turf surface there. Additionally, for Bear Creek, we are anticipating using the turf surface out there. So looking at those different options, not saying that we'll 100% turn our back on poured in place, but we feel that we've had enough challenges that it's worth, and some of these newer playgrounds, to consider an alternative surface to compare how they're working. We know in the big picture, it's still better than the wood chips. And it's much more friendly for people that have mobility challenges. But yeah, we're definitely pivoting a little bit and exploring and starting to use some other options to be able to compare and contrast.
I assumed you were. I just wanted to bring it up. I think I misspoke, and I said 2021, 22.
It's like
It was actually
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
That we had the first West Park poured in place. It's just that when you start seeing that trend, because we're now 25, 26 years, we've been messing around with this, to still have some of the existing problems, I'm glad you're exploring alternatives.
Absolutely.
And they're all much better than wood chips, recycled rubber tires with steel belting in it, and what we had growing up, asphalt.
Exactly. Or pea gravel if you're lucky.
Oh, pea gravel, we never had that growing
Yeah,
up. We had asphalt. So, thank you, Michael.
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Michael, I had a question. Just given that we know that our folks that use that playground know that surface is a problem, is it posted somewhere that we have upcoming maintenance?
We are mobilizing signs that say that warranty work will be happening, worded better than what I'm saying
Yeah.
it, but warranty work will be happening on after August 11th. So one, recognizing, yes, we're aware of it. Two, there's a plan to do it. And by putting warranty into the thing, we're also giving that subtle, indication that A, the taxpayers are not paying for it, and B, that it's because of an installation issue, so.
Yep, and so they can plan for, they have to go someplace else.
Exactly,
Yep,
exactly.
thanks.
Moving on to Founders Park, we've been having some ongoing dialogue with members of the cricket community, or fans of the sport of cricket, interested in having a cricket pitch within Carmel. In the discussions that we've had with them, the most viable existing location that we have within the park system are the multi-purpose fields that we have at Founders Park. And we actually engaged Y engineers just to understand what it would take to be able to adapt the multi-purpose fields to be able to accommodate more sports, including but not exclusively cricket. And what that would require is the removal of the center paved path through the middle of the field, sort of separating the two rugby lacrosse fields, as well as those trees. And of course, any trees that we remove, we would want to replace. We looked at the feasibility, could you do sort of a smaller cricket field on just one of the existing multi-purpose fields, but there just wasn't enough space. The ticket price for it was a little bit more than what I anticipated because there would have to be some regrading. It would impact the irrigation system, so that gets added into the figure. So we're talking in the magnitude around $300,000. I don't anticipate, I don't have high confidence that the city is going to be in a position to provide that funding. We certainly don't have that funding from other resources. So we're going to continue to have dialogue with members of that community to see if there's fundraising opportunities related to that. And of course, we want to make, if there looks like there is some financial feasibility for this, we'll want to have more dialogue with the park board to ensure that this is something that is that you're all comfortable with. We've always viewed that if you look at the master plan, we selected rugby lacrosse fields because for the rectangular fields, those are the largest sites and they provide the most flexibility. What we view as this is consistent with the spirit because it just allows more types of sports to be able to be completed there. But our vision would be that it is not a single use. It's not solely for cricket. It's still a multi-use field, but it feels at least consistent with the spirit of the original master plan for that park. So dialogue's ongoing, no decisions have been made, no commitments have been made, but I did want to make you aware that those conversations have been occurring. It's hard to believe, but 11 years ago is when we last adopted the ADA, American with Disabilities Act, transition plan for the park system. That's a requirement under ADA. There's actually, weird enough, not a requirement for us to do a new transition plan, but we do believe it's appropriate for us to do a new audit, independent audit of the park system, our programs, our policies, everything that really falls under ADA to make sure that we're meeting the ever-evolving standards and putting together an action plan for anything that maybe falls a little bit short. We received 2 proposals for that and ultimately found that Skolsky Consulting, which is actually based in Fishers, Jennifer Skolsky used to be with the IU, I'm drawing a blank of it. It's now part of the Epley Institute for Parks and Public Lands, but is a nationally renowned expert in these types of planning and assessments, and we have engaged her to do that assessment. We did look with our previous ADA consultant, which we have great confidence with and have enjoyed working with, but the cost difference was notable, and the expertise level of both were similar, so we felt that going local was the right thing to do given the cost differential. Work is anticipated to begin this fall, and it'll probably be about a 3 to 6 month time frame for that to be completed. Yes, sir.
Question about that. Prior to that, is there going to be an attempt to take back some areas that were ADA accessible that maintenance has not maintained to that level? Like the meadow that runs through the East Woods? That was all ADA accessible, and they put those logs in to divert water, which made it not so.
So in conversations we've had with the accessibility community, they're not opposed to that, or at least the folks that we talk to. They are opposed when we say wheelchairs can't go that way because they viewed it as wheelchairs aren't welcome in the park. But we will certainly advise.
I guess the question
Yeah.
is, do you do it preemptively, or do you work with them to notice that and then work to take it back to the way it originally was designed?
Well, the way it was originally designed is what created the water challenges there. And if we take it back out, then we have those challenges come back.
But there's better way, it could be handled in a different manner than logs.
We will
Use
evaluate that.
grates or other things that are more modern technology now.
We can look at that.
Okay.
I'll commit to looking at that so that we can.
And going back one step since I got the microphone, were the fields at Founders, I can't remember if they drained to the sides or north or north-south.
They drain north-south.
Okay, so taking out the walk won't cause any drainage issues?
No, part of what's driving the expense is making sure that it's grading, one, to be more friendly for cricket play, but two, to also ensure that we don't have drainage issues.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, we previously discussed Bear Creek Park, but we did have a meeting with our Build, Operate, Transfer team earlier today, and we continue to work on understanding exactly what we can construct with the roughly $7.9 million that we have. What that means is, as we always envisioned, this is a phase park, so we're trying to identify what makes this phase and what gets what transitions to another phase. But we're working with the design team that's part of the BOT to work through that process. So we will keep you appraised as we learn more, and if there are any notable changes, we'll bring it back to the park board so that you have a look before we press go to proceed accordingly. With that, I'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
Mr. Garrettson?
Yes, sir.
For many years now, I've met a group of people at Basbo's on Thursday nights. And in the summer, we watch all the traffic along the Monon. And hardly any of those people, especially going north, stop they think they have the right of way, which they don't. And I noticed that on the north side of Main Street, you have a stop sign facing north that has lights on it. And you have one at the end of that block, but you don't have one facing south. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, it was the one that is on the north side of the street facing south was installed by Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation.
Wait a
and
minute.
part of our design.
Which one?
The one closest to Bub's is
That
ours.
faces north.
Yeah, it faces north.
Yeah,
If you're coming for traffic going south.
yeah.
The one that's going north is the one that was installed based on the design approved by the city of Carmel, and of which Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation did not have input.
Can you ask them if you can do it? Somebody's going to get hurt badly there.
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, this new recreational area, which I don't even remember the planning process for it, down by 126th and 3rd Avenue, that you're going, July 3rd, you're going to dedicate.
Yes.
What kind of ground surface is that on?
Well, a variety of different, because it's an extension for basically a block and a half of the existing, it models what we did for Monon, or what the city did for Monon Boulevard, that's already developed and open. So I'm not sure I 100% understand your question. Okay, it's predominantly pavers and artificial turf.
Artificial turf?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it goes pretty high. These kids are going to be going.
Oh, on the hill that goes from where the playground is up to City Center Drive, those are landscape beds with a paved, concrete trail network that goes
No,
up.
I mean the new red recreational thing you put in.
Okay. It's on top of safety surfacing that is covered by artificial turf.
How high is that?
At the highest, it's 40 feet.
So if someone falls, they're going to get hurt.
Now, 40 feet is the top of the structure. That's not where kids can climb. So the playground was designed by Landscape Structures, which has done most of the playgrounds within the park system, and it strictly complies with all standards for safety for playgrounds. When you're in that structure, it's really designed that when you're in it, other than when you're exiting it to go down a slide, you're in it.
Yeah.
So it's not one of those things where you can get up there and oops, fall off of it. The only way to get down is either to climb back down through the structure or to exit via the slides.
So to get up to the point you can take a slide down,
Correct.
that's covered, that is not a open ladder or,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
In many ways, a different look. It has more play elements inside it, but it's similar concepts to what we have for the play structure at Meadowlark Park, and also which was designed by Landscape Structures, as well as the play structure at Inlow Park, the taller one, the furthest east, which was designed by another playground manufacturer, Compan. But again, yeah, the idea is once you get high, you're enclosed within the structure. So that's what makes it compliant with safety standards.
Okay, I'm glad to know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah. And I can attest I've tested it, so
No claustrophobia?
no claustrophobia.
Thanks,
I had
Mi-
really bad playgrounds as a kid, so, I take advantage before they open to get my inner kid out, so.
Thanks, Mr. Garrison. Mark?
I have hopefully my last question. On the kayaks at Hazel Landing Park, does the MOU allow them to store kayaks on site?
It does not. They're only using Hazel Landing Park as a launching site for for the beginning of one of their shorter trips.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, and what's important about that is it's a non-exclusive, so if we have other partners that come to us, or there's additional revenue opportunities, and it gives us much flexibility.
Do you think there's ever a possibility that that could be a staff-run operation in the future?
I think what's more probable is especially if we can work with other partners up and down the river, is that we have a program that's kind of like a ride share for bikes, but there are similar programs that are ride shares for kayaks or canoes. I think that's from a cost benefit standpoint, probably a more viable program, because you don't have the staffing expenses, and everything is checked out via that. So I think that's probably the more likely.
Well, we do know, as our lifeguards found out a number of years ago, our lazy river tubes work well in the White River.
Yes, they do. I think our lifeguards also learned that our lazy river tubes are not to be used in the White River. So,
There's always life lessons.
yeah, there's always life lessons.
Okay, and with that, we'll just close the director's report. Moving on to information items. We have Plan Commission. Jonathan texted me as he had to leave. He has no updates. School Board, we have no updates. You'll update us on how your meeting goes, Michael. That moves us to Environmental Stewardship Committee. Eric.
No real updates on that. We had a fairly shorter meeting this last month. It was a little bit lower attendance. And so nothing of major note, I don't think, to really address. We talked about a few marketing opportunities, trying to get some more word out about the committee and some of the stuff that the city's doing for some of those initiatives, but that was about it. Our next meeting's in July, the end of July.
Thank you. I mean, we can just celebrate the name. If a layperson can be on that committee, I would love to be on that committee. Okay, Parks Foundation.
Yes, it still exists. We have not met recently. The last thing that I was working on, Curtis and I have been working on a memorandum of understanding between the two organizations. And once we get that done, I'll take that to the foundation. The foundation has the run going on now, which started off last week. Our attendance is down from last year, which is sort of interesting. I talked to Carrie about it today, and I don't think any of us have an understanding as to why it's down this year over last year, because everybody that was involved last year really, really enjoyed it. So that's something that we have to take a look at the end. Obviously, most of our signs that were not new, that were left over from last year that we plan to use, were in the barn, and they went up in smoke. So our attendance is down, and our cost is a little bit increased. So life in the foundation is that way right now. So. And then, of course, we have the celebration with Parks for Sue Dillon, which is Friday, which I think many of us are looking forward to talking with Sue and reminiscing a bit about her involvement in the park. Brian was heavily involved searching for bats all night. We found some a couple of years later, but they were not the right bats. And so there's a lot of history with Sue and Central Park and getting it built that's very entertaining.
That'll be great. That'll be a great time for sure. Thanks for that. Park Board comments and or discussion. Mr. Garrettson?
Mark, I don't want to read anything into your comments about the foundation, but there are three major foundations really in the community: the Carmel Clay Education Foundation, just the Carmel Foundation, Carmel Educational Foundation now, which has its Taste of Carmel, and they try to raise money as well as solicit individuals. And the Library Foundation, which has a bookstore that provides them $6,000 a month. It seems that our foundation just doesn't do a whole lot except wait for money to come in and then decide how to spend it.
Jim, I think that's a great assessment. That's one of the reasons that I got involved with the foundation, and that is to work to take it to a new level. Part of the problem when we look at the foundation is the foundation initially started as former board members creating a foundation, which was a good thought. The seed money came from Green Space, which had been the previous entity that held money. There has never actually been, and this is just my opinion and my assessment, a plan on how we're going to build the foundation. The plan has always been there'll be some need that will cause the foundation to have to serve a need, and therefore it'll have a cause. Well, that's the issue. The foundation doesn't have a great cause, doesn't have a great identity, and that's what needs to happen as the first step. We need to look at how we're going to create an identity, what kind of board members do we want, what kind of organization is it going to be. So my view has been, as we work to craft an agreement between the Carmel Clay Parks Department and the foundation, that becomes basically the reason a foundation should exist and its purpose. That's never been defined. The foundation was created literally to take care of invasive plants. And that's all it still does, and that's all it has an endowment for at this time.
I was on the start of each of the other two foundations. And we didn't really start moving till we had staff.
Exactly.
And in the case of the Library Foundation, the library board paid for that staff member for about 6, 7 years before the foundation, she was effective. And the foundation started getting more money to the point that they took over paying for that person. We provided the space in the library and so forth. And I think the same thing was true for the Education Foundation. Until we got a staff person, someone who's on it every day, it's not going to move.
I agree 100%, and that's the direction that we hope to get to. While you mentioned the Library Foundation and the School Foundation, those both live under different rules and law than parks do.
Really?
From a foundation standpoint, yes. What the department can actually do to support the foundation is clearly defined, and it's different than what the library has done, as well as education too. So those are things that were worked on years ago, and I think, Brian was instrumental in when we were setting this up many years ago. So those are some of the things we actually have to navigate to make sure that we stay within the framework of the law on how the foundation and the Parks Department work together. And Brian, if you want to say something, I'd be
Yeah,
glad.
I'll just add that we did prepare some memoranda over the years that the department, the board, through the department, is able to fund staff work. And I
We
thi-
can.
Yes, I have to look back at it again. And I think actually there was a plan at one point that one of the dedicated employees would have part of their time dedicated toward the foundation. Eric, you may know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
so Carrie Berger, who's our resource development coordinator that works closely with the foundation. So her specific job when it was created, the original cost was split between the department and the foundation for that first year to get the position started. And then she supports the foundation. She's actually brought in quite a bit of revenue through the foundation, using them as a,
You have
pass through
to
for
have
grants
staff
and
to do
things
that.
and whatnot. So she works very closely with the foundation, but Brian's right. When we wrote that up, we had to specifically outline that she is one position that's allowed to have a larger percentage of her workload is allowed to support the foundation, but we had to specifically write that for her position specifically. The rest of
We
us,
cannot have a full-time,
Well, you
person
can
that
under
we
certain
pay for.
circumstances. The problem is the ghost employment statute. So government funding a staff for a non-government foundation, non-governmental
the
foundation.
library
So,
did that.
Oh.
And eventually, that's what the Education Foundation. And they
I'll have to get it all out, Jim. It's probably been 5 years since we put that together, and it can be done. But there are requirements that have to be met.
I think we ought to try to look into it, Mark.
Well, we certainly will. We're trying to look at everything right now. And I think you make a great point, Jim, but the only thing I would say is just because other people did it doesn't mean that it was necessarily right.
Thank you for saying that. I say it all the time when people come to me and say, well, this municipality did this. And I say, well, their lawyer didn't tell them they couldn't. But I'll resurrect those materials and circulate them around so we can all take a look at them.
And if need be, if we have to ask our legislators to introduce legislation that allows us to do it. That shouldn't be a problem, should it?
It's always a problem to ask the legislature for something and expect them to actually do it. So Michael has firsthand experience at that, and I have about 35 years of it. So.
But thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate your input.
We'll recirculate all that, resurrect it, and we'll all take a look at it and see if it's helpful.
Thank you. Any other board comments and/or discussion? Reedy, did you have anything?
I just wanted to put in a vote for the water park. We hosted my daughter's birthday party, and it was so much fun. So thanks, Eric.
Thank you for that. I don't know if I should let you say anything else.
I don't have anything else, so I'm fine.
Okay. Andrew, anything from you?
No.
No, okay. Mr. Garrett said no. Anything from staff? All right, well,
You want a motion?
No, I'm good.
no,
Thank you.
we're done. We're done. So with that, I will take a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
And a second, please? Second, awesome. I will call the meeting over adjourned at 7:24. Thank you.